One second. Yo, what is going on, guys? It's Cyberhorn 92 here. I'm here with a top four Edison. Would you like to introduce yourself and what deck did you play for the Edison for recently at the card addiction?
Hi, my name's Aaron. I just top four with Diva Hero. I was playing Fishborg in my list, and
Oh,
pretty
okay.
much I'm pretty much following up just to pretty much fill people in on some of the cards choices I had because I know a lot of people were questioning some things I had even at the event. So I just want to go ahead and just put it out there just to pretty much give an explanation how the deck, the thought process in the deck and stuff like that.
Okay, sounds good. All right, ready when you are, man.
All right, so pretty straightforward here. Triple Caius. The card trooper. I know some people were asking about this. Card trooper, just a really good card. You mill three. You get a draw, so it helps with consistency. But you mostly want this to beat over like you crash into Thunder Kings. You beat over Fossil Dynas. You pretty much get over Hamster. There's a lot of good cards that are 1900 or 1800, and you pretty much can get over them with this card. And like I said, the draw part is really good. The mills are good, or they can be good. You don't rely on the mills. It's not like you're trying to hit like Mali, Plague, and like all the good cards. But it just it does help sometimes. You get lucky, you get a good mill. You can go from there. Makes it much easier to win the game.
Mhm.
Dark Arm. There's a lot of darks in here. It's the most powerful card in the format. Dark Grepher, I chose to play one. I was playing Armageddon back then, and then I was even playing Diamond Dude in the past. But Dark Grepher kinda it's just a better card. It's a 17 beater. The card's able to discard a dark and send any dark, so you can enable the malicious plague pretty much scenario a lot of times. But Triple Diva, this is it's pretty self-explanatory. Diva's always
The
a
best
good
card.
card in this deck. Level two tuner, you can add you can summon a level three monster, or you can get a level two monster, another Diva from your deck. And the target I usually brought out was or the only target I have in the deck, besides itself, was Archer. So I'll,
What
I'll talk
does
about
that
Archer.
do?
So also this card, you can equip a level three or lower monster. It gains 800 attack, and if it were to be destroyed once, you can destroy the card instead. The card's equipped to instead. So like essentially, it protects itself. I'll explain more about it later on with some of the other cards in this deck. But the thing is that this card you can only equip one monster at a time. Like I said, sometimes you pretty much you use this pretty much to push through certain boards. If your opponent summons a Thunder King and you have Gilman in your deck, you're not gonna get over that. You're gonna a lot of times synchro with it. And you're gonna use up your summon, and they're gonna one for one. But with this card, if you summon this off of Diva, you can just equip the Diva, and you already have a 2000 beater to get over a Thunder King. That way, you don't have to one for one. You literally just kill their monster, and if this guy were to die, you can just destroy the equipped monster instead, and you still have a monster on board. So like if you're playing against like someone who has like two big monsters on board and you fail to kill one, at the very least you're taking 1200 less damage because they have to get over this unit. So like the pretty much that's kind of why I chose to play this card. It is a level three that's going to be important for later, so I'll go ahead and put these to the side. This is pretty self-explanatory. I was using an original, not this one. This is just my tournament. Yeah, at the tournament I was using an actual original. Shout out to Alex. But yeah, I was using an actual original one there. Stratos, just search anything. Pretty self-explanatory. So of this card's like a Cyber Dragon for heroes. You can search it off Stratos. You can send it off Future Fusion. Tribute fodder for Caius. Its effect, you can like tribute this to summon a Mali, and then like if you really have to, you can just go ahead and tribute summon Mali and just draw a card at the end. Like a lot of times you don't do that. A lot of times you probably want to set the Mali, but there's like very few scenarios where like, you want to get the draw. Like if your hand's really that bad. I guess this is the card that everyone wonders about. So the Fishborg Blaster. So it's a target for Mermaid Archer, but most importantly, this is actually for a play where you can either go Future Fusion, you send Mali, you send this. If you have a Diva in hand, you're able to perform the Colossal Fighter Arm OTK, or
Oh,
FTK, whichever one you want to call it, because pretty much let me see. So like if you have the Diva, you would just summon this. You Future Fusion, send this, send Mali. You go ahead and do Mali. You summon Mali, so you have a Mali on board, and then you discard a random card because you have a level three or lower. You summon this. Let me let me tell you what it does actually. So if you control a level three or lower water monster, you discard a card. he special summons this card from the grave. If it's used as a synchro material monster, all other materials have to be water. So obviously the Archer's water. You can only synchro with a Rio Archer. I think that's it. Pretty much when you have this setup, you pretty much have an 8 here and you have a 4 here. So Future Fusion and Diva becomes a pretty much auto win against a lot of situations. And it came up a lot of times. I want to say I did this to like 4 different opponents, and it pretty
Dang,
much got me out of some pretty tough spots.
holy.
Unfortunately, against one of my opponents, he still won the match, but it was a really cool thing that he also didn't expect. But yeah, the fishborg idea was one of my friends. Pretty much like a few months before the tournament, I was trying to play like a hero deck. I didn't really know what to play, but I wanted to play a hero deck eventually because I had made the deck. I'm a fan of the deck. And so one of my friends was like, "Hey, why don't you play Fishborg Blaster? No one's really on that." And I was like, "Is that card even legal?" So I had to go ahead and search. And yeah, this card was legal for Edison. It was pretty much a card that no one really plays. No one. I don't think I see many lists with. I don't think I see any lists online. Maybe some random YouTube videos out there, but essentially I wanted to put it in my deck, and I was like, honestly, just having a random wing con, army arm, colossal fighter, pretty good. Just for one card investment. Is one slot too. Like I didn't really need to change up the deck really because in theory the mermaid could just be a Gilman and you still could do the play. Like you don't have to play mermaid. I just prefer to play mermaid because I just like the card.
Dang, that's
Gores, self-explanatory.
yep.
Plague Spreader, self-explanatory. One of the best tuners. Sangan, Searcher, Trag. So I wasn't playing Trag at first, but I tend to have this issue where like I feel like you're never safe for like OTKs, and like even though it is Edison, much slower than modern. There are decks that can kill you, like Life Swarms, Bayou Swarm, even the Mirror Match a hero deck, they can just go double Miracle Fusion. You lose your board. So I wanted some protection, and in this deck, you don't play a lot of traps. You play a lot of spells, and sometimes you just hold on to those cards for advantage. And getting a big drag on board is pretty nice. Being able to discard a random monster. Sometimes you can even discard a Fishborg to take their cheap one frog if they have it, and then do other stuff with it. But essentially, just discarding to take control and having a big beater is very important. And obviously, like not dying, actually taking another attack in. Last monster card that I chose to put in, one of my friends, shout out to Josh, he gave me this a long time ago, and I was considering the night before, I was like, what has good synergy in this deck? Like, what water monster can I put? I used to play Snowman Eater, but I feel like it was too much of a defensive card. This card's really good because you can, it's the same concept as Frog. Like, you keep bringing it back, and you play triple Kai, if you play, what's his name, Mali, Tribute Summon, or Tribute Set, you get value off of it. And also, in this deck, if you summon this, you can, you have Mermaid, you just equip it. Mermaid, if they were to not kill Mermaid, they were to, it protects itself once. Next turn, you could bring back the Frog and give it to Mermaid again. You could keep doing that if it keeps surviving, and you pretty much get a monster for the next turn if you have a tribute. You have a Kai, you can just tribute it. So it was a really, really cool combination of stuff you can do.
Okay. Will
Yeah,
will you change any of your monster lineup, or you think the way it is currently is good, or anything like that?
I think the way it is right now is pretty solid. I wouldn't really change too much. If I ever think of taking out the Fishborg, like I guess the Fishborg play from this deck, I might remove the Treeborn, maybe a Snowman Eater. But honestly, I feel like the way it is right now, it's pretty solid. I'm not gonna say it's like the best way of running it because that's there's many ways to play the Diva deck. I feel like there's no like exact 100% like correct list. As long as you're playing a lot of the same cards, you're on the right page. As long as you can get Miracle Fusion, Absolute Zero out, I think that's all you want to do a lot of times. But yeah, like a lot of cards that could be, like I said, if people don't like the Mermaid, they just play the Gilman. I know a lot of people do play Gilman. It's the most popular card for like as a target for her. I don't disagree with it, but I think that this getting over Thunder King does come up a lot, and like sometimes it just depends on the matchups, right? Because I know he can also boost up your guys, so it's like he can be a lethal card, but I feel a lot of times your lethal is gonna be through Miracle Dark Arm, the big monsters. Let them do all the big push and stuff. But yeah, in terms of the list, I think right now I'm pretty satisfied with it.
Okay, makes sense.
Spell lineup: Alert, Brain Control, Foolish, Standard Card, MVP, Future Fusion. You open this, you open this. It's like nuts. Like it's insane. Like in top, it was playoffs for top 8. I opened this card both games, and I was like, yeah, like I you know I can't really like say anything much more. I'm happy I opened it, but like for my opponents, like it sucks. Like yeah, you got to deal with the
Yeah.
all the advantage I'm gonna get.
Yup.
Ghost Sarks. So I had an earlier version where I wasn't playing Ghost Sark. I was playing Upstart, but I know people are on Ghost Sark now, and I did go ahead and check the nationals list. I believe I got second, and like I completely agree. Ghost Sark is a really powerful card to be able to just grab a card in 2 turns. It feels slow, but we're not playing modern Yu-Gi-Oh. We're playing Edison. Edison. A lot of times you're not gonna die. If you're unlucky, your opponent has like everything rolling for them. They're playing Bayou Turbo or even the Mirror Match. They kill you. Then it is what it is. That happened to me once. I go sorry, try to grab the engine, gotta get engine going. He killed me before. I was like, kudos to you. You did what you had to do. You can't let me resolve this card. But this card's pretty good because even like there's games where I go ahead and I have this. I'll go Sark, I'll grab heavy, I'll wait 2 turns to get the heavy, I heavy, and then I fusion fusion because I have the colossal army arm loop. So I'm gonna go for game. Like
Yeah.
as long as I survive, I'm gonna go ahead and kill them because I don't
Yeah.
want anything to interrupt that. Heavy
Mm-hmm.
Storm, standard card. Mind Control, standard card. It's like this and Brain Control are just really good cards. But I did against one of my opponents, which was, I mean, it was a pretty cute play, but it didn't really matter in the end. I still got the L. I mind controlled, or I think it was I brain controlled one of their treeborns, and I equipped it to my mermaid just to stop them from getting, the frogs back. But then I had DD Crow, so I was like, okay, he has one frog engraved. I'm gonna DD Crow that, and then he's gonna be in a weird spot because he doesn't have treeborns. But that was far from the truth. He was able to get heavy. He was able to go out the next turn after that. So I was like, okay, well, I tried, but it was just a cute little play that came up. Miracle Fusion, self-explanatory, best card in the game. You open this card with Future
Yup.
Fusion, you're insane. Uh, Space, Rhoda, they explain themselves. One ups, he's pretty much essentially all the best card. I guess this is the one card that like I was considering taking out, but then I kept it in because just being able to discard Pittsburgh Basher, Mali, Plague, even just a third dark just for dark arms is really powerful. And essentially it's like a compulse. But I felt like discarding a card was too important. Because sometimes you just like you can't afford to just set a monster and pass because
Yeah.
sometimes your opponent's gonna end up getting too much advantage from that.
Yeah. Makes sense. How was the return of the dimension for you?
Return was I think return was like the best card in his entire deck. So in a lot of my games, especially in Top Cut, this card was the reason I just was able to steal the game. A lot of times I would you do Mali, you do Plague, your
Mm,
opponent sometimes DD crows you, if not you Miracle Fusion of banish cards. You're banishing all these powerful cards to make more synchro plays.
yeah.
And a lot of times your opponent, if you have a Stardust and they get another monster, you attack with them, your opponent's gonna be like, okay, it's fine, I'm still alive, and then you just hit them with this, and they're gonna, they're about to take more damage, like way more damage. And
Makes
yeah, this card's probably one of the best cards in the format. There's a reason it's at one, like
makes
in
sense.
I think it's banned in current Yu-Gi-Oh and modern Yu-Gi-Oh, and that's
Yeah.
that's fair. This card's really powerful. Just
Yeah. Makes
random
sense.
multi-K.
I was surprised you don't play no bottomless deep prison. What was your logic on that part?
So bottomless, like I like bottomless, but like a lot of times bottomless is so bad going second.
Mm-hmm.
Um so the thing is for card like Trap Shoot, this card's also bad going second, which is why I chose to side it out every time I went second. But the thing
Mm-hmm.
with bottomless is like priority exists in the game. So sometimes your bottomless, like it doesn't give you as much value as you want it to. Like it could be good against stun decks, like they summon a Thunder King, they summon a Kaiku, they summon a Banisher. Against Iceborne, just Bonus is pretty effective. It can be very effective. The problem is, like I said, there's priority. So like, if your opponent summons a Brio and you bomb this, they're gonna go priority discard like their entire hand just to try to
Oh,
go for game because they
that makes
probably have like a huge setup. Like so, bomb is like a weird one. I don't really want to play Bombless because pretty much the reasons like priority exists in the game. Bombless is a good card in a trap deck. It's not a bad card. I'm not saying Bombless is a bad card. I'm just saying that in this deck, I feel like it just wasn't the right call.
yeah.
Pretty much deep prison. Deep prison's kind of like your opponent has to run into it. Deep prison doesn't really do that much. Like
Yeah.
it's good against Stardust, but in my logic, I was like, I don't need to really out Stardust too much. If they have a Stardust, I can just Miracle Fusion, Absolute Zero, crash into the Stardust, and then I blow up the her board anyway. So it's like you don't need to really out Stardust, and I guess like this out Stardust too anyway. So I mean, it's a one up, I get it, but like Deep Prison to me just didn't feel like the best option for this deck. A
Yeah,
little bit
that
slow
makes
because your
sense.
opponent has to commit to attack.
Yeah, like Edison, like having grown so fast, like throughout the history of it, and like literally, it's like basically they destroy your backboard, go for the game, try to break your board. Also, you're playing 40 cards. Is that 40 or how many cards is that? By the way,
Yeah,
so
should be 40. Should be 40.
all right,
I
super.
didn't I didn't wanna I didn't wanna commit like too many slots like or
Yeah,
I didn't want to make it inconsistent by putting
yeah.
41 because the deck can't break. It really can't break, and that's essentially one of the reasons I didn't get past top four. Games 1 and 2, I drew horrendous. I drew the worst side of the deck, and I was like, you know what? That's fine. I had a good run.
Okay,
Like
that makes.
I did what I could. I did what I could.
Yeah, and for consistency is king.
Yep. Oh yeah, exactly. Consistency is key. Like that's what it is.
Yep.
That's why
You
Gold
can.
Strike was really good.
Yep. You can show the extra deck and then the side deck afterwards. Yep.
All right, so let me see. So side deck, two Cyber Dragon. I sided against Hero Beat. It didn't really do much. I guess it ate like an attack for like an honest against their alias, but the Cyber Dragon didn't really come up too much. If I played against machines, I had the camera check ready, so it would have been good there. DD Crow. DD Crow is a good card. I think like this card really destroys any plant deck. Anyone that plays Avarice, even zombies is good. I think the card is really, really powerful. Against Frog, it can be good. Sometimes, like I said, like when I had against my opponent, he ended up having like everything to just keep pushing through, so it didn't really matter. But Kitty Crow's a good card as well in Edison. The
Yep.
one Summonator. This is where it got. This could have been in my main deck, but I chose to put it in the side because it's more for like side deck cards. Thunder King, Kaiku, Fossil Dyna, um, Banisher, cards that really hurt my deck. This is a good card to have, and it should be fodder for Caius. A lot of times, against Hero Beat, I definitely side this in because their monster 19.
Makes
They
sense.
can't even honest get over it because it's zero attack.
Yeah. Would
But
would
yeah,
you want to play
huh?
up to 2 or 3 snowmen here, or one was perfectly fine?
I want to say I think I would play two moving forward. Not gonna lie, this my side deck. I feel like half my side deck was like properly was actually good. The other half of my side deck was so useless that I was like, you know what? Yeah, I want to put like better cards. This is one of the
Okay.
better cards in my side deck, 1000%.
Makes,
So yeah, I would definitely put in another summon in my side deck.
okay. Okay. Makes sense.
Fury Perk. This is one of those cards that like it could have been the second Summon, but it never came up. Like whenever I started this, I never drew it. My logic was it's a dark, so if I ever leave a lure in my deck, which I usually side it out, depending on the matchup, depending how I felt. A lot
Mm.
of times I will side out the lure, but I will side this in because the logic is that some decks are unable to run over this, and no one expects it. Sometimes you just set it, attack it. Okay, I'm sliding for few turns. I give you a brick. Like
Yeah.
obviously, if you play against like frogs, blackwings, it's not gonna do so well because they're just gonna bounce it back. Blackwings can just pierce through it. It's
Yeah.
not a good card to have against those matchups. But
Makes sense.
like I said, it's a dark. I'm playing dark reference, so I was like, you know what? If I ever draw, I can just ditch it, get more value.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
The two Thunder Kings. So I sided this against Hero B. I sided this against a lot of decks. Bayou. Never drew it. I think I drew one, and then like I didn't ever get to summon it. Like it's. I can't say much about this card right now. It didn't do anything. Uh, Deck Devi. So I saw a lot of people playing this in their main and side deck. I think this card is very, very powerful. The problem is, well, just being able to get it to be live. That's the only problem with this card. You can Ghost Arc it, so that's why I put it in there. I was like, I'm playing as a one-up, but Ghost Arc is in my deck, so I can just grab it. And honestly, this is really good against Frog deck. I wish I had this against the Frog guy, the guy that won the whole thing. He was pretty much my loss in top four. I didn't have it, and so unfortunately, I wasn't able to do much with this. But this card's very powerful, definitely.
Mm.
Line Prisoning. So this is a funny one. A lot of my opponents were playing Bayou, and at first I was like, okay, like I'm playing against Lightsworn probably, right? Because game one I saw nothing but Lightsworn. What am I supposed to expect, right? I'm seeing
Mm.
Raikos, I'm seeing Hamsters. I'm like, okay, I see no dark cards. Game 2 and 3, I'm signing this in for game 2, and one of my rounds, I play this against the Raiko. I'm like, cool, this is working. And then my opponent just throws out a dark arm. He throws out a giant tune dark arm and a bunch of dark cards, and I'm just like, oh, yeah. I mean, I had a feeling it could have been a Bayou variant. Unfortunately, I can't do anything about that. And
Yeah.
so after all my games too, because this happened every single time. Like every Bayou deck I played against, game one they did not show Lightsworn. They only show Lightsworn cards, and I was like, okay, like like after that first initial time this happened, I was like, nah, like this is bait. Like they're probably playing Bayou. Like so stop siding both of these. I just sided one in just in case because I was like,
Yeah.
this is good. Like it's good for Lila, like Raiko, and like I guess it doesn't even stop honest. I think like it's 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 so weird. Like every time I had it, it was bad, and I was like, I don't want to side card, but I decided one in, and like it performed, but at the same time it didn't. Every time I had this, they had to out to it. So like I can't really say too much about this card besides like I guess it's gonna be good against Fairy. I put it against no Fairy though, but I know people side against Fairy, and Fairy is a deck. I do fear Fairy because like Christia, Lightsworn, Herald, those cards are really powerful.
Makes sense.
Uh, Master Restrict. This was for frogs. Unfortunately, top four. I did not draw this card. This card would have been very helpful. But even honestly, I feel like even if I had this, for game one, even if I had this card, my opponent still had game because he didn't really tribute summon. He just went junk synchron, put him in a bunch of monsters,
Oh
make like
no.
yeah, like he synchro pretty much Miracle Fusion, game,
Mm,
and I'm just like, yeah, like what am I gonna do? Like yeah,
yeah.
and essentially, I can't say much more than it is a flood against that deck. It is that matchup. Next card is the most like to me it's like very controversial card. So going into this event, I thought like my friend and I, Daniel, shout out to Daniel, he was saying like there's a lot of backroad decks going on right now, and playing Royal Decree is going to be really good against those decks. We were expecting a lot of control. There was a good amount of control at the tournament. The thing is that he was considering main decking it. I also considered it, and I was going to do it, but then I'm happy I didn't because even though I'm only playing 6 cards, in theory, like Decree shouldn't be too much of a problem if you're playing it. The
Mm.
problem is like every game I decided this in, I drew my traps and I was like, oh
Oh,
man,
it
like
conflicts. Yeah.
I flip a decree against a oppression,
Mhm.
like a skill drain, but then
Mhm.
I'm drawing my trap after traps, and I'm only playing 6, and I'm just like, wow, that is just bad luck. So
Dang.
after that, I just did not just play this card at all. I was like, nope, this card's
Yeah,
not
I'm not
not for
risking
me.
it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I'm glad I chose not to play this card anymore because like I was I did well. I did what as I did. Like
Yeah.
Royal Decree is a good card, but I think it's only good against certain matchups, like specific matchups. Like because against Hero Beat, I don't think this is a great card because you're giving them a target for Gemini Spark. They
Yep.
always have Gemini Spark.
Yep.
Like it's pretty much like I feel like at best this card against heroes is just like Gemini Spark bait. The problem is that they're still gonna get their draw, and you now no longer have removal. That's why
Yeah.
I kind of wish I would have played Giant Trunade in my side instead of like the Decree, but at the same time, this would have been in theory good against pure Black Wings if they're playing control,
That's
against stun. There's some decks where this is really good, but
right.
unfortunately for me, knowing my luck, I don't think I'm a size card ever again in this deck unless I settle all my traps. Like
Yeah.
I don't know why. It happens. It's Yu-Gi-Oh. Sometimes it happens.
Yeah. It is what it is. Huh?
Yeah, it is what it is at that point. He shot out to Zach.
Yep.
Your tokens. Just want to show off my beautiful tokens.
Oh, waifus. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, waifu tokens. Okay, extra deck. This guy, I never made it. Stardust, you always make Stardust. A lot of times you make Stardust if you have back row. That's why I feel like Compulse is a good card if your opponent sees you playing 3 back row, they're gonna make Stardust. So if you have Compulse, pretty much you Compulse it. But like I said, in my deck, I feel like I needed to discard, so I wanted the Phoenix Wind Blast. Red Dragon Arstring, never made it. This card, you make it pretty much when you do Diva, when you need live or something. I think I made it once. Goyo Guardian, just Goyo Guardian. Dark Dragon, I only made this once. It's priority. Using this on priority is really broken. Colossal Fighter, pretty much Armory Arm. Yeah, these cards pretty much won me a good amount of games.
Quick question.
Brio.
Dark End Dragon. Does that work under Set Monster? Just quick ruling
Yeah,
on.
it sends any monster on the
Oh
field.
my gosh, that's
Yeah,
bro.
so a lot of times, if your
Yeah.
opponent has this in extra deck, and you're setting monsters, they're probably gonna darken. The problem is sometimes it's a risk because if you darken a Sangan or something like a Dying Lion, you kind
Yeah.
of made your monster weaker for no reason. But I
Yeah.
mean, I feel like at that point it's up to the player. They gotta make the call right there. It's like,
Yeah.
what are you reading? They're reading a
Yeah.
Raikou or a Dying Lion or like even Necro Garden or something. Rio, Black Rose, Catasher, the 3 absolute zeros, and then the 1 Chimera attack, and that's pretty much my deck.
Okay. Will you
Pretty
change
much.
any of your extra deck, or I know you want to change your side deck quite a
Yeah,
bit.
no, this I think the side deck needs a lot of work. Like the thing is like I did not know what to play for this event. I
Yeah.
switched my deck like 5 different times like prior to the event, and essentially it was up to the last day. I was like, oh, I gotta pick something, right? Like I because
Yeah.
there's so many decks and there's so many I was like there's so many good players out there, and I'm just like I'm not expecting to play against people who aren't good. I'm expecting to play against people who know how to play the game, and
Yeah.
that tended to be the case. A lot of people are really good. Some people, they're still trying to get the hang of Edison, so I get it. But I'm gonna treat you like like an equal opponent. I'm not gonna treat you as like someone doesn't know how to play. Like first
Yeah.
impressions are everything. But
Yeah.
essentially, I didn't know what to play. I was very anxious. But I tended to just roll with whatever I had the feeling. Like I said, Decree was like one of those things where like, we had a feeling there'd be a lot of trap decks, but I didn't want to main it because I was like, it feels like if I play against Bayou Turbo, like a
Mhm.
non back row deck, or even like Light Sworns or like an aggressive deck, even Hero, like Hero Diva, like Decree is not that great. So
Yeah.
maining it would have been like a dead card, and I'm happy I did not main the card. It's one of those things that I kind of just wish I had a giant Tunade instead of this in my side deck, but it is what it is.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
yeah, in terms of the side, for sure the side deck would go through a lot of changes moving
Yeah.
forward.
But yeah, congrats on getting top four. You were super close, unfortunately, but that would be nice that you won back to back. That would be crazy. And how many?
Yeah, I was hoping.
Yeah. Do you know
Oh,
what was your? Do you know what was your matchup throughout?
yeah,
Launch?
yeah. I have my matchups for people that's interested. So round one I played against Bayou Lightsworn, I guess. Like I said, that was the one where I was like, oh, I don't see any dark card. I see light cards, so I'm gonna go ahead and Light Prisoning. And yeah, round two Hero beat. Round three was my only loss in Swiss. It was a guy that got their place. Unfortunately, both him and I lost in top four. He lost to the second place deck, and I lost to the one that won the tournament. But the Hero B guy was my only loss, and shout outs to him. Pretty much, it was a really good game. I really enjoyed that game. That was one of my favorite games. There's another match that was one of my favorites, but I'll get to that. Round four was Pagan Zombie. It was Ultimate Offering Zombies. The deck is pretty scary. You just Ultimate Offering, you summon a bunch of guys, make a brio, bounce everything back. Game. It was very very scary. It was a very scary matchup.
Yep.
Round five, I playing against one of my friends, Daniel. He was playing Light Sworns. We were both same record, and unfortunately, only one of us could get the win. I ended up just getting the better side of the things, and essentially, I had already played tested against him, so I already had like an edge because I already knew this. And I'm knowing how I am. I just switched my deck. I switched deck like like deck after deck, and essentially when we played, he was like, "Oh, you're playing this deck now." I was like, okay. I essentially I felt like it was a little unfair because I had knowledge of his deck and he didn't have much knowledge of mine because I just switched last minute. It wasn't intention or anything. I just cannot
Yeah.
make up my mind.
That's true.
Round six, this was the Evil Hero deck. That was also one of my most memorable games. I that was a really good list. Game one was really interesting. I gorged and I was like, okay, I'm fine. I have a gorge on board. I'm about to beat him down. He gives me a lava golem, and I'm just like, oh, okay, like what am I playing against? Because I don't know what I was playing against in the beginning. And then I'm like, okay, well, I got 3,000 beat. I'm taking 1,000. I attack. He composes the lava golem. I'm like, oh, like this is it isn't looking good. I'm seeing this guy summon his what do you call it Prisma, and start dumping these all these cards. I'm just like, oh, he's playing the pretty much evil heroes, and I was like, oh god, like this is scary. And yeah, like he pretty much he was able to get me one of the games with making I don't know his name, but there's a monster where it's like you're putting half attack into that monster, and I was so low on life. I was like, oh yeah, even if I Miracle Fusion for Ab Zero, I can't get over that. I still lose because of life. I was like, oh my god, that's scary. But I managed to pull through on that one. And then there was so how they did it was they did it was top 12, top 8, or my bad, top 4, and after standings does not play this round, but 5th to 12th is like playoff for top 8, so they play against each other. So top
Oh.
12, yeah. So essentially, what's gonna happen is after that round of playoffs,
Mhm.
the winners of that round are now in top 8, and they play against the top 4. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like an
Oh.
extra round you have to play if you're not in the top 4 in Swiss. Unfortunately, I got 5th in Swiss, so I had to play another round. So
Yeah.
there's where I played against Hero Beat, and that's one of my opponents where I just opened really insane. Like it was like, okay, I just drew the nuts. Like it is
Yeah.
what it is. Top 8 I played against Bayou Turbo. pretty interesting matchup. It was a really close one. One of the games there was an issue in an illegal play. Shout out to the judges because they caught it, but it was not intentional. It was an accident.
Mm.
Pretty much he swarmed the board. He had someone in Armageddon. I did the turn, that same turn. I torrentialed because I was like, he's gonna push with a Bayou, and that's fine. Not a Bayou, a Blackwing. I forgot his name, synchro. He's gonna push with that. He's gonna use Vayu to, instant Roku to summon the synchro. He's gonna push with that and maybe something else. And I was like, that's fine. I'm still 8,000. I'm good. I have a Gorgon hand.
Mm.
Or I have like something in my, I forgot what it was, but essentially I was like, I'm not gonna die. And so he does his play, but he summons a Dark Arm. I'm like, okay, this is kind of bad. I was like, but it's fine, I don't die. And he summons Fossil Dyna, and I was like, oh, I was like, I did not expect the Fossil Dyna. The problem was that he did normal summon already, and the judge caught it because the judges are watching these matches, and he caught it. He was like, wait, how did that get on board? You normal summon Armageddon because Fossil Dyna can have a special summon. And he had to reverse it. Unfortunately, because he had to reverse that Fossil Dyna play, he put out his Dark Arm for me to get rid of the next turn. So like essentially, like all I did was just next turn I made a Brio, I made Ab-Zero, Brio bounce back the Synchro. That way he doesn't have like another target for value in the future. And then I got rid of the Dark Arm, and then I passed. The problem is that because he showed me the Fossil Dyna, he either has to set it or just not play it at all. Yeah. And so my Brio, unless he outs my Brio, I'm gonna bounce his set monster, and that's what happened. Like he didn't have to commit the Dark Arm if he knew he didn't have to normal summon he couldn't summon the Fossil Dyna. You know what I'm saying? Like he could have saved the Dark Arm for a surprise kill or surprise shot, but unfortunately, that kind of messed up his flow of the game. And so essentially, I moved to top four. Top four, I played against the Frog Hero guy that got first place, and I drew very, very, very bad both games. I could barely play. Shout outs to him though. He did what he had to do. Ryza just aggro me. I'm not gonna discredit him. He's a good player. He did what he had to do. Like I respect it. But essentially, yeah, that was the end of my run. I got to watch the finals. Really cool finals. I think they streamed it too. It's on their site, Card Diction. Huge shout outs to all my opponents. Huge shout outs to pretty much Card Diction. Huge shout out to the tournament organizer, and huge shout out to the judges for sure. 1000%. I feel like the way they ran it was really good, really well. I feel like we need more judges like that are on top of stuff. Like a lot of times like Konami streams, they miss stuff, and it happens.
Yeah, no, 100%. Thank goodness the judge caught that, because that could cost you the game. That Fossil Dyna.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. If the judge did not cash that, I for sure lose that game. I for sure lose that game. Like for sure. Like but like huge shout out to them. Pretty much. Huge shout out to everyone that was with me at that day. Huge shout out to Daniel. Huge shout out to Isaac, my boy Alex. Shout out to Jono. I give a shout out to my boy Josh, saying the whole chat pretty much. Edward. Shout out to everyone. Shout out to you. Shout out everyone pretty much. But shout out to Zach for giving me the fishboard to Tesla. And then eventually got one from Adam's boot. But appreciate everything. Appreciate the support. A lot of people were rooting for me. I was hoping to I guess take home another PS5, but it is what it is.
Don't worry, you'll get the next one whenever you're gonna have another one. And before
hopefully.
we're gonna add a story. We'll add a thing to the call. Real quick, give me 1 second. Yo, what's up, Daniel?
Yo, what's good? Oh wait, get back Alex real quick, because that also matters.
All right. Well, whatever happened to Alex? We need to add him to the call. Yeah, no worries, guys. This is still raw live streaming,
Yeah, like this PS5 was really interesting, just because like Aaron just could not pick a deck coming into this. This is hilarious.
Dang.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, it's one of those things where it's tough, Oh yeah, huge shout out to my boy Eddie, my boy David. You guys know who you are.
Yeah, but it was just interesting because like he didn't have enough time to like test all these decks thoroughly. So it was just kind of like I just told him like, hey, just pick whatever you like and just roll with it.
Yeah, no, it's crazy because usually for an event people make their deck list, final submit, and turn out it's a success because like they say, okay, it's like very hard to decide what deck I'm playing or what card should I play last minute, and then it like pays off afterwards.
I'm really happy he chose Diva Hero this time around, just because like luckily we did test that deck, but we also tested with Fishborg, and it was we were very fortunate to keep this hush because no one else was like doing it the first couple weeks at Edison, or, like coming up to this event. So it was like Aaron has an edge if like he decides to play that deck.
Yeah, that's true. And it was a spicy tech because I usually don't see that list like at all until now.
Yeah, no, I understand how people were looking at this list and they were like, "What are you playing?" You know, like they like, but essentially it's just Diva Hero. It's the same thing, but with a few cards splashed in, I guess, because it's the same concept. You know, I'm playing the Future Fusion, I'm playing the Maddie, I'm playing the Plague. It's just a little different because I'm adding in the Fishborg. A lot of people do already play Treeborn. You know, like because it's a target for Miracle Fusion. You know, you just Future Fusion, you dump it. But essentially, yeah, like it's a hero list. It just has some different cards to it, and you know, I hope moving forward, you know, people look at this list and they go like, okay, you know, they want to make something similar to it. You know, I think I welcome it because then you know I can grab ideas from that too. You know, like that's the point of it. The point of net decking is to try to figure out what someone else was playing, how they were playing the deck, and try to see if you can make it better. And that's how that's how decks evolve. That's how that's growth. I think that's very important.
That's true. And I like the way when you said one of the monster you can run over Thunder King. That's crazy because a lot of people had to waste a lot of resources against that one card. But like we broke the format. Just like you like one card just running over, save your resources for something else.
Yeah, like a lot of people were asking me like, oh, like why are you not playing the Gilmans? And you know, that's my logic behind it. Also, you can play around bomb. I guess the thing I forgot to mention, you can play around bomb.
Yeah, like that was like a big thing, and then his decision making, like it makes your divas more productive in like the grand scheme of things, where like you didn't have to synchro to like run over a dude, but if you had to, like with catastrophe, then by all means you just make it. But like in cases like Thunder King, where like they're gonna tribute your guy anyway, like you're gonna still keep a monster on board, and that's actually really good.
Dang, that's crazy. And you guys been playing Edison for a quite long time, ever since back in the day too. Now, is that correct?
Yeah, like luckily we both lived the format, so like, and we also just had really good players in our local area at that time. It was like really talented. So like the amount of sheer like pressure that we both had to like play against, I think shows in like our performance. Like luckily, unfortunately I bubbled this PS5 just to like my game 3 of like the last round, but like that still shows that like you're able to push through Swiss. Like if you just know how to play Yu-Gi-Oh, like that's what really matters.
Yeah, that is true, and that's still kind of like revert to like current format. Like if you cannot go for a game, basically whoever have the better advantage will go game the turn after or something like that.
But yeah, like for sure, a lot of the players we grew up playing with, I feel like had to contribute to this, like to our, I guess, like essentially being, I guess, proficient players, I guess, or just not like we're not beginners. We've been playing for a long time. We used to play with a lot of really good people back in the day. I used to play with Ed, I used to play with Zach. I know like in modern Yu-Gi-Oh, they have multiple tops. I have a few regional tops, but like compared to them, they have a lot of accomplishments in the game. And essentially, we grew up playing with those people, and those people, are essentially really good people to play against because you gain a lot of experience. You learn a lot of new things from them. I'm happy to be able to play those type of players.
Yeah.
Even back then, locals, going to 8-ball, that was our locals, playing with homie Saint, playing with friend John, we play a lot of people.
Yeah, like luckily some of those people still exist in our circle. So like anytime we like want to play Edison, like really play it, they're the ones who like spank us all the time. We're just like, dude, how do you do it? Like no, like literally, like I remember like our friend saying like that I think the night before like I played my case tournament randomly, like he would just like spank me, and then like I just won the next day, and we're like, oh, so this is how we do it.
Dang, that's crazy. What's your guys' thoughts about Edison kind of evolved back in the day, so different until now? It's like star improvement. A lot of decks can literally win. You guys have any opinion or anything like that?
I think I have something to say about that too. Actually, I think it just comes up to any format really down, like any retro format down the line too. It doesn't really matter like what the card pool is. It's all a matter of like what people are playing, like making meta calls and stuff like that. Like I get that sometimes decks formats are 2-0, like Dragon Ruler or like Necroz or like Pepe or anything like that. But like when it comes down to like a very diverse format, it really doesn't matter what you're playing. It's more like, are you just better than your opponent like out on the table when you're playing?
Okay.
And like sometimes it is deck building. In this case for Aaron, it was deck building where like no one really expected Fishborg Blaster, but it was something that we knew from like future formats that we could take into like account. Like say, hey, if we can just play this, then it'll work out for us because it was legal, but like no one was really playing it. So it's like what you take from like what you know about the game and like applying it to a specific timeline. Does it work?
Dang. Okay, makes sense. And I was actually surprised. I thought that fish card was literally banned in that format, but it turned out it wasn't.
Yeah, like Fishborg was legal.
Yeah.
Privacy. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. Oh, and Steven just joined the call. What's up, Steven? How are you, man?
All right. Hello.
Yeah,
Hello,
can you hear me?
You there?
Hey, Alex.
What's up?
Oh, I'm an Alex. My bad. Whoops, Alex. Oops.
No, you're good, G.
Yeah. So like the interesting is that like so Alex, like he played the first version of the deck I was playing, the hero deck. He played the version that I was playing because I was playing upstarts in it, and so essentially, I let him use the deck, and he went X1 in another case tournament. It was a projects tournament, and he had no side deck essentially, and I was like, oh, like like, cause I know Alex really likes heroes, and I was like interested because he didn't have a side deck, and he did so well, and like, he pretty much like his feedback on the deck is very important. I don't know if you want to like say anything about that.
Nothing really. I think like your deck constructing, because it's like literally you passed me the deck that day of, and it was funny because I wasn't even sure if I was gonna enter because I thought it was money, but it turned out to be free. So I was like, oh, what the hell? And you're like, oh, I have an extra Edison deck. You want to play? It's heroes. I was like, I'm kind of down because I like heroes, But I think like the upstarts, like taking out the upstarts was pretty genius, to be honest with you. Like the idea of like Fishborg Blaster though, I never thought of it. Like the fact that it like incorporated into basically like an OTK, right? Like Colossal Fighter and Armory Arm. Like when I played my version after playing your version, like after playing that first initial version that you made, like making it into my like playstyle and how I like playing like hero and stuff like that. It was different for sure, but I did have like Armory Arm and Colossal Fighter, but I was never able to make it like consistently. Like Fishborg Blaster is like one of like the most geniusest cards. I didn't even know that card was at 3. That's so crazy. I thought that card was banned. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
No, same. Yeah.
Like I said, that's the other thing too. Like when we were looking at cards in the ban list and what cards are legal, like you just can't think of stuff like that. Like luckily, I found that through a podcast. Like it was like Dale who mentioned it. I was like, who's a veteran who's still playing. He's just like, all right, so he's doing this and he figured out how to play Diva Hero. We should probably just jump on this while we still can before it's too late.
No, literally the day after they posted the your deck profile, like for whatever, I don't know who was the host of that tourney because I couldn't attend. But yeah, they literally Fishborg Blaster got bought out for super rares. I was like, damn, it was a little too late. Yeah. I was telling Aaron like days before. I was like, yo, let me know if you do well, or I was like, let me know if you're taking. No, it wasn't even like you doing well. Let me know if you're taking heroes, so I'll buy the card too.
That's legit my fault for like being mean, just like last minute.
To be fair, like he actually like had to pick the deck like literally the night before, so it was like you can't really tell like what we were gonna do.
Yeah,
and you had like Aaron was focusing on himself, because he was prepping for this tournament, and then I was focusing on my own tournament that I was playing because that was the reason why I couldn't go. But man, like for sure, congrats to you because like legit, you almost won a second PlayStation 5.
Yeah,
with a fishboard is nuts.
But like essentially like when you play the deck when you play hero like how did that deck make you feel though? Like
dude, not gonna lie,
like you were playing.
Not gonna lie,
Miracle
Fusion is like one hell of a card. Like besides like even the card that used like secretly tuck and everyone was tripping like, oh, you're playing Fishborg Blaster, isn't that card not legal or isn't it banned? I think Miracle Fusion is such a good card. Even Future Fusion, 100%. Like Future Fusion, like foolishing any of your like your Mallies, your if you're playing Treeborn, foolishing Treeborn, like foolishing like cards like that. You know what I mean? Like it was so like your powerhouse. And what I liked about heroes, every single spell that you played in that deck was all powerhouse spells. like one-ups that literally just destroyed like your opponent's like board. And I mean, I'm not saying like the deck has issues. I feel like every single deck in Edison have their issues.
Yeah,
It's card
exactly.
games.
Yeah,
It's a lot of like RNG, so it's like based off what you
yeah,
like
straight up.
draw and stuff like that.
Yeah, because the thing I'm getting at is like when you played that deck, when you were like destroying people with that deck, you're telling me how like fluent. I was watching you play that deck. I was just like, damn, like this deck's fucking broken. It's
Yeah,
insane,
like it was
No,
literally
like
like
watching you play this
crazy.
deck, and that honestly gave me some form of confidence to play the event. That's like I was like, oh, like honestly, like him playing this deck the way he was playing, made me go like it looks very fun and interesting because I had the deck, but I never played it at any tournaments or anything. I let people borrow all the time, but essentially, like I said, like, I just had to squeeze the fishboard in there, like make that work somehow, and essentially, I guess like it
Yeah, it
worked
worked
Oh
out.
out.
no, it paid off for sure. Like top
It
4.
worked out, but like
You almost
essentially,
won
like
a
yeah,
second place. I should
like
lie.
yeah, pretty much like kudos to you though for giving me that form of inspiration because I was never a huge fan of heroes in the past, but like I said, watching you play the deck, like you're having fun with the deck, I was like, see that's what I want. I want to play a deck that's like it's good, but like it's fun to play with. Like I don't want to like play a deck that's not fun to play with. That's why with GK when I won the other PS5 tournament, like it was fun because I've never in my entire life had played GK ever. That was my first time playing that deck, but like just the fact that it's not a hard deck to play really. It's not that hard to play.
Yeah,
There
that's
are technical plays you have to make here and there, but like that deck, like just essentially it just felt so right playing it. It felt fun. I bricked so many times, but I managed to pull through. Like that's what it is.
that is.
No,
Yeah,
no,
like
no,
like essentially yeah.
no, I was gonna say like to be honest, like with Hero, I think like any person is just trying to get into Edison because I never lived the format. The format that I
Yeah.
came in and played was like towards the end of Dragon Ruler when and my first deck was just as funny. It was Hero Beat, but without Stratos. It was just Gemini
Yeah,
Spark, Mass
you're
Change.
you're a huge hero fan, and like I said, like watching you play that deck kind of gave me some form of inspiration. I was like, and motivation. I was like, oh, like it looks like he's having a lot of fun with this. Like, and it is a
No,
fun deck.
yeah.
I had a lot of fun with that deck. Like
I mean, like it's for me. It was like more nostalgia for me because growing up watching the anime. My favorite, my
yeah,
favorite like arc ever is GX, like hands down. Like besides from like like
yeah,
5Ds, 5Ds is really cool too because
yeah.
it
I love
introduced
fighting.
synchros. But like the hero, like the main protagonist, Jaden, heroes, I was always a huge fan of like the archetype. Playing it, and I was like, I recommend like any person who's trying to get into Edison, I'd recommend playing some form of hero. It's funny that PS5 tournament that we played where you won, I was playing the hero beat, and to me it was like my first like big tournament, so I wanted to play something that was kind of not like as skilled because like, I wasn't so comfortable with Diva Hero. If I was really comfortable with Diva Hero, that probably would have been my deck for like that training. But I played hero beat, and I wasn't upset that I played it. It just like I said, it's like sometimes like card games do take into a factor of
Luck, RNG.
RNG. So like like if your opponent draws
Yeah,
better
it is
than
a
you, you
card
can't
game.
really do anything about it.
Yeah, you can only control so much, and sometimes that's all you need, but sometimes it's not enough.
No, yeah, 100%. No,
Yeah,
Oh yeah, after you got then I'll say something after.
no, go
so
ahead.
so
I
it's,
mean,
Oh yeah. Mention about two things. I'm so happy you didn't play Upstart because Upstart's a really good card. I personally don't want to give your opponent 1,000 life difference.
yeah. Oh yeah, that's something I definitely should have
That's the other
mentioned.
thing I like to
So
mention too
yeah,
because like it's crazy. Like in that deck that has so many random game shots that like especially Coastline Army Arm, right? Like you just want to kill them. Giving them more life is just like it may not be the best thing in the world because you might be down on life too.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that came up on one of my games. That was the guy I
You
lost
might be down on
to.
life.
Pretty much, I did the Colossal Fighter army arm thing. The thing is that I had trapped Dirt Shoot and Honest from his hand, so I was like, if he has a second Honest, like I lose anyways. I'm at 2,000
Yeah.
life. He's at 9,200 because of his Android, and I'm attacking into an Android. That's a light monster. So essentially, I went for it. I did the loop. I attacked. I took 500 life. He took 20. He took the attack of my monster. I attacked again. He took yeah. So I'm doing 29 to his 34 because his monster gets 1,000. So I took 500 again. He took the monster took 29 again. I took one more time. I'm at 500 now. He took 29 again, but he still has life because he's at 90 to 100. So I go attack into his Gilman for 1,000. That's game. So essentially, like you know, you have to be smart how you do it. But like, yeah, like if I would have upstarted at any moment, you know, I wouldn't have won. You know, like some of those games, because yeah, giving them life is very important. You know, you can't always arm classified at the beginning of a game. You know, you're gonna get it mid to late game. Late game's the best, but you know, actually early game's the best. But you know, a lot of times it's more possible throughout the mid to late game.
Yeah, like the thing about upstart too is because it gives your deck more consistency, you know. So like it was like the issue of like your like our decks weren't. I mean like because like if you did the lock right, because that's what you were like planning. That was your game plan. This like basically you know your whole tournament. You know like even though like they're gaining life from the upstart, like it's still scary because like it's really hard to like OTK and like and like I'm not saying like it's possible. It's really possible, but like in that format, I think it's a little harder.
You just need the right combination of cards.
Yeah. Exactly. And you just gotta hope and that your opponent doesn't have like responses for those combinations, and like
or Gore's track, right? Like the
Gore's track. Oh, dude, I was just playing against Lightstorm.
Those
cards are nice.
Yeah, insane. Yeah, like also I do. Honestly, I do want to mention pretty much one of my friends, Jonathan, you know, huge shout outs to him because essentially, you know, before I won the PS5 tournament with GK, you know, he was playing the hero deck and he was mollywopping me, dude. Like it was insane. Like John was a good player for sure. He technically is a good player. He's a really good player. I consider him a really like a better player than I am technically. But the thing is that he was spanking me so bad that I switched decks and I ended up making the GK deck. And it wasn't out of spite. It wasn't because I'm losing, you know, to that deck. It's not because of that. It's because he just made me realize that my deck is frail. Like if you know, like if a deck like Diva Hero can destroy me, which is, you know, at the moment I thought it was a very popular deck, but it wasn't as popular as it is now. You know, I felt like, oh, like I'm gonna just lose like round one, you know, just easily. And essentially, you know, I switched to GK, and like I said, like the chain of events happened. You know, things happened, and essentially I won the PS5, and I'm over here top 4. And it's very important because I was the original skeleton of the hero deck that he was playing with. You know, so like for sure, you know, like huge shout outs to him. You know.
Yeah, mention about hero.
Like,
did you guys saw the national recently? Then the Daniel Christmas play hero made top cut with heroes.
Oh yeah. Oh, dude.
It's funny that you mentioned that too because like I helped him get his invite for that event. Like lucky enough. That was a funny story, bro.
Yeah, no, like honestly, like Nathan, I played Nathan in the past before, like at locals, and yeah, no, Nathan's a really good technical player, especially with hero. Like it's funny how he mentioned his own profile that even though he plays hero so much, he still makes mistakes, and that's that's really interesting because that just shows how human we all are. You know, we all make mistakes. You know, like and he I for sure like Nathan like as the hero guy, I'll be like he for sure knows how to play that deck. Like if you're playing against Nathan, you know, if you don't know who he is and you know your opponent's playing hero and you're playing against that guy, it's like, oh, better get ready for a really intense game. You know, it just if he doesn't break, of course, you know, because it's RNG space, you know. Sometimes 100%. You break, it's a free win. But you know, if he doesn't break, if that man can play, you know, he's gonna give you a run for your money. Like, and you know that's
crazy.
Well, he bubbled like multiple events too. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, he did. Yeah,
he had topping records. It's just like his tiebreakers and get him out.
Yeah, at the YCS,
he 100% deserved that nationals top, like 100%. Like, I was like, damn. I don't know him too much, but you know, I'm familiar with his name and a lot of I have mutual friends with him, and they mention him a lot. So I think hands down to him, he's a really good player. If I were to try to pick up heroes in like modern format, I would definitely message him for advice.
Yeah, dang, that's crazy. And I believe you said he played heroes like ever since he started playing Yu-Gi-Oh or something like that, or.
I've always seen him on hero. That's what I'm telling you.
Like he's played different decks, but like he will always come back to hero because that's his pet peeve. And he will always find success with it, which is like something I admire.
Every time I played against him, he's always played hero. And like I said, when I play against him, I'm all like, oh, like this is not gonna be a walk in the park. You know, like I have to hope he doesn't draw playable for it to be an easy game. You know, but essentially, if he draws playable, you know, he's gonna be a tough opponent, you know, and he's a very nice guy. He's a very nice guy, you know. Huge shouts to him. You know, he's a very nice guy. I never had any issues with him. I don't have issues with anyone in general. Like when I play the game, I try to be as straightforward as possible. But I know he's a very cool guy, and I've seen him. At locals, he's very friendly. A very good pusher for the community. But essentially, yeah, no, for sure. When I was playing this list, I was like, oh, like that'll be cool if I do get a W or at least a top, because it'll be close to right now how heroes pretty much popping. Like I know heroes they get second at the last nationals, at our nationals, the Edison nationals, and him topping. So for me, top four with heroes, I was like, okay, cool. I got top four, and essentially top four it was 2 hero decks, but mine was just more Diva hero. The other one was control hero. But I mean, yeah, like for sure when I was playing second, I'll be really cool if I get a top.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Before ending this, do you guys want to add anything else before ending this podcast or deck profile?
All I gotta say is everyone playing Diva Hero now moving forward. Fishberg Blaster probably got to be in your deck. Hey, probably.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if it's your play style, you play it.
Yeah. I don't recommend most people play it, but like if you are able to randomly just kill people out of nowhere, that is the card to do it.
Yeah, it feels good. It feels good.
Well, you save a lot of resources too. Like play under Thunder King.
Like it's just a 2-card 8,000 damage shot. Like why would you not take that? Like that's like it's so crazy.
Adding a win condition to your deck with just the same essentially the same cards that would be a win condition, but much easier. And it doesn't always have to be through Future Fusion. You can I know in the E3 Yu-Gi-Oh! Shout out to E3. And when they talked about my deck, they did mention having Mali in hand. That does come up a lot. Yeah, it is a very, very real situation that happens where you end up opening one Mali and you have Future Fusion. And you're just like, oh, like what do I do now?
Like your fishboard's live anyway.
It helps. Yeah.
Yeah. So it does like open up a lot of like different ways to play, which is like something I really enjoyed about Fishboard when we lit the pros and cons of the card. Like there are more pros, so like you might as well just play it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but yes, essentially, I think the only thing I will say for this is play Fishboard if if you end up liking it. If you don't like it, you don't have to play it. Don't force yourself to play the card.
It's just preference.
Also, pretty much I can say the same thing for like any other deck. Play what you're comfortable playing. Don't force yourself to net deck someone and think that is the way of playing a deck. There are cards that you want to play 3-ups, 2-ups. It is always recommended to play certain cards, but don't feel pressured to think that you have to play a certain way.
Yeah.
Play what you feel is most comfortable. And I think the most important thing for me, like not everyone's the same, but for me, it's pretty much have fun. Look for a deck that's gonna be fun, and you're gonna have fun enjoying. Sometimes people do better when they have fun. I think that's my case.
True. That is true. But we'll just say thank you for you guys for this podcast and / deck profile, and yeah, I think that's all. You guys want any shout outs before ending this video, or you guys are good at the moment?
Shout out to Order 69. Like those guys are just
Order 69 for sure.
Order 69 baby, the GOAT. Like expect us more at events.
Yeah, shout out to my boy Shane. Don't forget my boy Shane. But yeah,
make sure y'all buy your favorite cards because I'm coming next PS5 tournament.
Oh, there you go, baby.
that might be the next project.
That's the next probably like the next deck we probably would look at just because we think that deck is really good.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And your boy Serpent492 and Air Ones is signing out. Thank you for the deck profile, guys. Peace.
Appreciate y'all. Thank you.
Yeah.